If this is your second, third video you've watched on YouTube to try and steam that perfect velvety milk for lattes and cappuccinos, but still have failed nonetheless, today I'm here with 6 tips that will change your steaming game. So first off, preparation is key. Having everything you need in sight within reach is crucial when it comes to steaming milk. Milk steaming is a sensitive and crafty task that requires your full attention. You look up to find your damp cloth, the steam gets out of control. You leave the steamed milk for a second to find your pouring pitcher, the milk starts to separate. When you're about to steam milk, have your steaming pitcher ready, a pouring pitcher if you're using one, a damp wet cloth for wiping off the steam wand later, and of course your milk, and your latte cup. When that steam starts going, there's no stopping it, and preparation will make your life much easier. And moving on to the second tip, aerate your milk as soon and quickly as possible. There are mainly 2 parts to steaming milk, and the first part is introducing air into the milk. This air that has been injected into the milk will be in the form of medium to large sized bubbles in the beginning, and when left as is, the texture of these foams are harsh and unpleasant. To have longer lasting, smooth microfoams, or smaller bubbles, we need to stabilize the initial harsh bubbles for as long as possible. After aerating, we raise our pitcher and let the steam mix and homogenize the foam with the milk, while also breaking down those bubbles to microfoams. And this process can be usually found in the form of a rolling vortex or a whirlpool that you've probably seen many times in other videos. So there's usually a set amount of time that milk can be steamed until it starts overheating, so I'd recommend that you aerate as soon as possible for that longer rolling or mixing period, as long as the aeration process in the beginning doesn't introduce any crazy rapid bubbles to the milk. And speaking of having a longer period of rolling and mixing the milk, the third tip is to use cold milk. Using milk that is already heated is obviously a hygienic disaster, but using chilled milk in general will give you more time to aerate the milk and stabilize it, or making it silky smooth with the microbubbles, those small bubbles through rolling or mixing. When using warmer milk, it is easy to overheat your milk to compensate for the lesser time creating those quality foam, and overheated milk will taste ruined. Stop steaming when the pitcher is too hot to keep your fingers on it for more than a second, but this depends on each person, so maybe use a thermometer for more accurate measures. The next tip applies to people with weak steam-powered machines like the Breville Barista Express over here. On higher-end machines with better steam power, it's really easy to create that vortex, that rolling whirlpool, because the steam power is so strong that the air just shoots through the milk and is able to reach all the way down to the bottom of the pitcher and wrap around, which creates that whirlpool. However, oftentimes on machines like the Barista Express, the steam power is not enough that the steam dies before reaching the bottom of the pitcher, hardly making any whirlpools. If you're struggling to make that vortex, tilt the pitcher a little towards the seam wand, so the distance the seam needs to travel and wrap around shortens. This ensures that there will be a vortex and that the foam above will incorporate nicely into the rest of the milk. Now, before we move on to the last 2 tips, if you're enjoying this video so far, please leave a like down below and subscribe to my channel because it makes a massive difference. And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos I upload every week. Anyways, back to the video. Many videos on YouTube say that you need to submerge the tip of the wand maybe half an inch below the surface, but I think that's really for machines that have powerful steaming that can push away that milk initially and introduce that air. Weaker steams aren't able to do so really, and the only way you can go about this is to have the tip of the wand half submerged and half exposed to the air. This will make it easier for the steam to cut through the milk initially and stretch that milk. After aeration, you do need to submerge the wand below the milk because you don't want to introduce any more air, but I would actually recommend that you use that initial half an inch recommendation. If you go too deep with machines that have weak steaming, the steam won't reach the full body of the milk, and the foam above will separate from the milk below. Think of it as you're pushing the air into the milk through that vortex and homogenizing the entire body. My last tip is to give the steam wand a second before you pull it out from the pitcher. Make sure the steam is completely shut off. Otherwise, you're going to mess up that velvety milk you've just textured. When the steam is completely shut off, then you're good to go. But on the flip side, however, if you keep the steam wand in there for too long, the steam wand will actually come down to the temperature of the milk, and the steam trapped inside will exit as water, diluting the creamy froth you've already created. And as always, make sure to wipe down and purge your steam wand after steaming milk for maintenance reasons. And one honorable mention that didn't make it to a full tip, but a lot of beginners struggle with having this thick blob of froth when they first steam milk. And that's usually a result of people having the steam wand too deep inside the pitcher. And what happens then is the milk below and the froth above aren't being homogenized well, and that's why you end up with that thick blob of froth that is really unpleasant both looking at it and tasting it, unless you're making a cappuccino. So those are my 6 tips for steaming the perfect velvety creamy milk for lattes and cappuccinos. And here's where I would love to hear your opinion. Do you have any secret tips for steaming the perfect milk? Do you agree or disagree with some of my tips? Please leave those ideas down in the comment section below, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one.